Welcome to the Bodaciously Awesome Family Show. Bodaciously Awesome Family Show. The only show dedicated to helping parents maximize their kids' experiences and for kids to reap the fun. Here are your hosts, the Bodacious family, Adam, Anthony, and Zachary.
Yeah! Welcome.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, welcome back
To the
Bodaciously Awesome Family.
show.
I am your host, Adam.
I am Anthony, your other host, in addition to Adam.
That's right. Yes, you are. And we are back with Bodaciously Awesome Family Show, Bodaciously Family. And Anthony is back. He is, since our relaunch with me and Zach, Anthony's been here sporadically, but he is here today. I bribed him.
With what? Wait, I'm getting bribed?
You were bribed. This is the reciprocal nature of the bribe.
So what do I get?
You got to see the Batman.
Oh, okay.
I paid the $50 for the tickets and the $10 for the popcorn.
It was good popcorn.
And honestly, it really was kind of really good popcorn.
Yeah, like randomly, like even for movie theater standards.
Yeah, it was actually really good. Yeah, we aren't here to talk about the popcorn, although we could. Because, I also had them layer the butter throughout it, and they did a really good job.
See, I knew it was something.
Yeah, it was special. Anyway, so just to remind people, you can find us everywhere there's podcasts. You can drop us a line, BodaciouslyFamilyShow@gmail.
No, you can't drop us a line. You can send us a message or an email.
Is that how the kids say it now?
They don't say drop us a line, that's for sure.
Oh, okay. So what do they say?
Anything but that.
Okay, so our electronic mail address is BodaciouslyAwesomeFamilySign with it then squiggly a thing, gmail.com.
Somehow better.
Okay, good. Or you can find us on the Facebook at Bodaciously Awesome Family Show or on the Twitter machine at Bodacious Family.
Still not Twitter machine? But I give up.
But see how I flowed right back in there. I have not said that since you've been gone, and I feel like this way it's like our old routine is just populating again.
But sometimes old routines need to change.
All right, fair enough.
That's why wars happen.
Wow, that got dark.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're here to talk about
the Batman.
The Batman. So it's our cinematic education episode where we talk about these movies. We get to see the Batman. Very good movie, right?
I concur with that previous statement.
Okay, yeah. And so we're going to talk about it. Now, because old routines have to change, right? Since we have to what was it? Like in The Last Jedi, we have to blow up the old ways and whatnot.
Yes.
So one thing we've been doing, we've been listening to a movie podcast called The Rewatchables, and we're going to kind of actually steal some of their stuff here today as we talk about it.
Because stealing is fun.
Because stealing is fun, and it allows us to kind of do some different things.
If there's one thing you've taught me, it's to always steal.
That's right.
And never work hard for something because you can just steal it.
Exactly. That is why the world works.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Anthony, let's talk about the Batman here. So this is our 3-hour-long Batman movie.
Although, to be fair, Dark Knight Rises was 2 hours and 45 minutes, and Dark Knight was 2.5. So
that's a good point.
It's not like it's a large. Everyone's like, oh, it's 3 hours. We were kind of already there.
That's a good point. That escalation of Batmanness has been happening.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start talking. What did you think about this movie? Like, you went and saw it. Like, we've actually now since seen some of the movies it was inspired by, but like, you have some good grasp of cinematic history here. You've seen some of the influences, but what did you think about Matt Reeves' Batman epic?
Well, I did think, the one thing I was really worried about is that over 3 hours, it would be kind of like a slog. And I thought, like, the thing that impressed me the most, actually, was the pacing was perfect. There was never a point in a 3-hour movie, which is a long time, where I was like, man, this is like getting kind of old, or they need to move faster. Because everything had except for Catwoman, everything had a purpose, or at least everything was entertaining enough to keep my attention throughout the whole thing, which was good.
Yeah. Well, so
until the very last 20 minutes.
Okay, I'll get there. Yeah, because I would agree. And actually, you said unlike Catwoman, because I'd point out earlier, we'll get to that. From a plot standpoint, I don't really think she has a movement in the plot. Although Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman was really cool and interesting, and when she's on screen, I was captivated. It was just after the fact, I was like, if you take her out, does the movie change? And no.
I mean, kind of, but you can write your way around it.
Easily. But I would agree, actually, on the most part, that for the most part, over the course of 3 hours, I was never bored. Like, there was never a point where I was looking at my watch from a standpoint of, is this over yet? Right?
Yeah.
I did actually, towards the, that middle, around the start of hour 3, look at my watch to verify that's where the movie was, because I was going to go to the bathroom, make sure that I didn't have to go to the bathroom towards the end of hour 3. So, right, like I did kind of plan that out. But beyond that, I thought it moved very well, and it was always engaging. Like from that standpoint, there was never a lull of an engagement standpoint. And as a superhero movie goes, it wasn't a superhero movie. It was
like you always say, The Dark Knight isn't really a superhero movie. And to an extent, that's true. But this is, like, really not a superhero movie.
No, not at all. Like, so I think when you start looking at the evolution of Batman movies, right, you can go to, like, the 1989 Michael Keaton version, it was definitely a comic book movie. It looked like a comic. Not necessarily a superhero movie, but it looked like a comic.
I'd say it's a superhero movie.
That's fair. You can. But definitely that comic feel.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you go to the second half of those series, like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, which are the very pulpy, over-the-top, cartoony comic book feel. I don't think you've seen those, though, right?
No.
And you should keep it that way.
No, I remember one time you were watching the one with Jim Carrey as the Riddler, and I walked in for about 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm take a pass.
Yeah, it was actually recently. That was like this summer. Like it was right after HBO Max launched, and they had them all. And I'm like, I'll rewatch Batman Forever, because I remember it not being that good, but maybe it's at least enjoyable in a campy way. And holy cow, it was downright bad.
Yeah, from the 5 minutes I saw, that's what I got out of it too.
Yeah, I don't think I even finished it.
I don't blame you.
And I remember correctly, the next one, Batman and Robin, was definitively worse.
Ouch.
Yeah, it was bad. So anyway, but this, as we see this evolution, you then get to Batman Begins, where they try to be more realistic, I guess, and then you get to Dark Knight, which you get this more of this crime feel. Like I would segment the Dark Knight to more like movies like Heat from the late 90s. You have this crime movie that happens to be Batman as a lead character. You have this guy in this suit instead of a cop.
Very close, possibly a 5-star movie, but by far the best Batman movie, close to a 5-star movie.
The Dark Knight?
Yeah. You can say it's a 5, and I will probably agree with you, honestly.
I'd still say that 4 to 4.5 range. I will say that, oddly, a lot of times I go back to rewatch movies, and my opinion doesn't change. I think I'm pretty good in the moment of saying this is definitively, in my opinion, good or bad, and I can say, man, that's a 3, 4, whatever star movie. And when I revisit it, I usually say, yep, I'm still pretty much in that same category. Oddly, within the Batman universe, The Dark Knight I have liked more, as I see it more often.
Me too, because I originally agreed with you, like, it was a 4. I've seen it 3 or 4 times, and each time I've been like, maybe it's a 4.5. And then the last time I watched it, I don't know why, but something just clicked. I'm like, that was perfect. That was amazing.
Yeah, so I think I don't think I've gotten past 4.5, because I think there's still, again, you have the entire China scene needs to be chopped out, and I still have some issues with The Dark Knight. But for the most part, I respect it a lot more than I did. Oddly, in reverse, I really like The Dark Knight Rises more the first time I saw it. I still do like it, but I see a lot more of the flaws now that I didn't see that first time.
Yeah, I mean, there is the big, giant, gaping plot hole in it.
And I saw that even when I saw it. I said, that's a problem, and that problem just gets worse over time. And that's how it gets played in and out of Gotham and whatnot. Yeah,
that one I've only seen once, and I'm like, oh, that's bad. That's not good.
Yeah, but then likewise, we get then to say Joker. We'll include that into this universe. And again, I thought the Joker was very good, and I liked it a lot more that second time.
Yeah, when you watched it with me, you liked it more?
I did, actually.
Yeah. No, it was so good. I really liked the Joker.
Yeah, so now we get to the Batman. So this is why one of the things I find really intriguing about this is we'll get to our ratings here at the end, but I really liked the Batman. You really liked it.
Yeah.
It was really good. I do not think it was great. I do not think it's a 5-star movie. I think it borrows a lot from a lot of other movies. Again, like I said with Joker, I had a similar critique, right, where Joker was very much borrowing from like 70s Scorsese and that crime feel. This one takes a little bit from there, but it's borrowing a lot from like late 90s David Fincher. We talked about Seven.
I mean, we saw Seven, and I see the similarity.
Yeah, I showed you Seven the next night. So I'm like, let's watch the original.
I think there's enough differences, but
there is, but it's obviously let's go with heavily influenced.
Yes.
Yeah, but even you can then take the other influences. There's actually a lot of scenes that are cut that were very much influenced by Silence of the Lambs. Again, late 90s crime. And you start or that was actually Silence's early 90s, but that's okay. You start really seeing what those influences were to Matt Reeves, the director and writer. And I think that you can put that together. It's a very, very good and interesting movie. I just ultimately think it's too much homage and not enough of what brings it to the dance. Not enough Batman, even though he's in it all the time, to like tie it together in this superhero or detective or something. It just kind of, it felt like it all falls flat. 'Cause it's more homage than it was its own substance.
Honestly, I think it in terms of its own substance, I think it was fine. I don't think that's the issue. Honestly, the issue was in the last like 45 minutes where it becomes the big superhero movie, and that's something he didn't borrow from like 7. The ending's very like small and contained, but so it's able to pack like that bigger punch. Because I think honestly, like something that's like anything that's smaller and you get to know the characters better is always gonna beat a big nuclear bomb that's to blow up the world in terms of tension, because you know the characters and you know kind of like the stakes almost seem higher when they're smaller.
Oh, absolutely. You can definitely get to a higher stake, and Hitchcock used to always talk about this, right? Those higher stakes that are more personal, right? And I think that's actually one of the big problems with, say, the TV show 24, when all of a sudden there was a nuclear bomb. They all had nuclear bombs every season, right? That's a problem that's plagued like Marvel movies, is that these big stakes get bigger and bigger. Honestly, and how do you overcome the Endgame types, or well, actually Infinity War level stakes? And you can't do it without like, oh, now it's the multiverse, we're going to destroy all of that. And at some point you run out of room. And like, go back to like say Marvel examples, like I love Iron Man 3 we've talked about, because it's a much more smaller movie with much more personal stakes.
It's very self-contained.
Yeah.
It's very contained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to kind of redraw that, right? The Spider-Man movies kind of did that a little bit, where they're trying to make it, but not. They made it too big. It's all these grandiose things. It's okay to be small and contained, and yeah, I do think they do that well in this realm. Again, until the end where it kind of blows up and it starts making a little less sense.
Yeah, and honestly, you look at WandaVision. It's the same thing, because it's contained. It's just these people in the city trying to get out, and you know there's like something weird going on, and then it blows up into giant big thing, and all of a sudden it's like, I care less now.
Yeah, it's less engaging.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and or like the Eternals, where they're all immortal gods. Like, I don't care.
Right, you can't. Well, the personal connection gets lost.
Yeah.
And from a character standpoint and character building, you can have movies that don't have that character building. That's okay. Just to have this big grandiose thing, right? I mean, every Fast and the Furious movie. But if you want to make it more grounded and more legendary,
you have to pick one. Nice. You have to pick one thing though. Like Batman had its thing, and then changed it to make it like more accessible, I guess. And it just.
Yeah, more appealing, yeah.
More appealing, again, more blockbustery, almost.
Right. Yeah. That's why I often say that I love Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, right? As a character-driven superhero movie. It's grandiose with Doc Ock and everything, but the character nature of Peter Parker is so huge with his girlfriend and his best friend and wanting to kill him as Spider-Man and whatnot. It's just an amazingly character-driven movie.
And honestly, we're getting so off topic. That's okay. Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man, was it No Way Home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
NWH, as the kids call it.
They don't. And it could have been that personal with him having to send these people back and to kill them, but instead they're like, we're just going to make a big thing, which also it worked and it was really good, but it could have been so much better if they just kept it smaller.
I agree. So now let's talk back to the Batman using the same kind of construct. So if the personal notes to the Batman, oh, by the way, we will spoil everything here. We're 10 days out by the time this airs, that I think we're good with spoiling anything.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So, the Riddler is leaving these messages for the Batman, and that part's very cool. Let's talk about like some of these elements here. This entire beginning part where the Riddler, on some level, other things, by the way, that I think influenced it were Jigsaw from the Saw movies, because the Joker's like leaving like that big weird contraption where the mouse was in the maze. All within the Riddle construct, though, is very cool. And again, it looks very gritty like the Saw movies did.
I was going to talk about the one with the rat, because the one with the rats, actually, honestly, all like the first like string of killings where he's just following the string that the Riddler's leaving is so cool. And then it ends with the the car driving into the funeral.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. No, and especially the very first one with the thumb drive. I was like, ooh, that was good. I liked that. And the person behind us kept laughing at like inappropriate moments like that.
That was weird.
Yeah, she thought everything was really funny.
It was like a nervous laughter, though. Yeah, she did laugh like this, ah! And then, or like when the time when Batman and Catwoman kiss, she's like, oh yeah, I'm like, what? Like, it was so weird.
This is not the right movie.
That was very odd, odd reaction.
And then the second one where he has like the mouse trap thing, that one's really cool. I really like that one.
Yeah. So at least what I liked the most in this movie, and I know sometimes we get a little off topic with some weird things that I happen to really like, but there was. So first of all, I loved the score. I think the music was absolutely amazing.
Okay, so I love the score, but I could have used less of it almost, because like it seemed like every moment that had any significance was.
It's very bombastic.
Yeah, and it didn't need to be like random example, but like in The Dark Knight, there's one part where there's no like when they're driving through the parking garage and he has like the slaughter truck. There's no music at all in a moment where there should be, where it feels like there should be, and it's amazing. Or like Spider-Man 2 when he's in the hospital thing, there's no music, and it works, and it's perfect because you're in the moment more.
I get you. Yeah, no, this one, I think the score is great. I've been listening to it during work a lot, and yeah, but it is very bombastic, and it gets very loud, and I thought it helps the milieu, right, in terms of like this grittiness that they're creating, and I thought really worked. But definitely can take you out with the all of a sudden.
Well, no, it didn't take me out. I just would have appreciated less of it almost. Like, it was great. Just a little less of it.
I get you.
Yeah.
The other thing I really liked is that there's the cinematography. There's a lot of very small shots.
Yes.
That are so good. And again, put you into a weird place in Gotham. And there's two that I want to mention. And maybe you see these two. So first of all, it's like anytime there's a car or a motorcycle or whatever, there was often
in the car.
Yeah, or you were under it. Like there was a shot like at the wheel level, like where they mount a camera to the wheel, and it just takes you. I never seen that done before. At least so often, where you're like as a wheel in the car to see where it's going, and it gives you an entirely different point of view, which I really liked. And then the other was when in the first killing, so the Joker kills like the mayor. Riddler kills the mayor, and with that trowel, the shovel thing, and when it falls to the ground, and first of all, he like throws it, and in the camera finds it perfectly where it lands in vivid detail, where everything around it's blurry.
I was actually going to talk about that one. Like that one was great, and honestly, there's like a big like car chase scene in it, and the whole car chase scene is complete nonsense. Like, it makes no sense. They're like breaking through barriers. At one point, he goes up on a ramp, and then the other guy crashes onto him. Doesn't make sense. And it's all nonsense. But it's shot so cool, you don't even care. Because it's like, it all looks so beautiful. Because all in the rain, and then there's like all the street lights, and then like it all blows up, and it's upside down, and it slowly turns. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, the part where you're in Penguin's car, and it's like turning upside down, and he's flipping, is actually really neat.
You know, and then it lands upside down, and then you see the Batman like walk out of the Inferno, and it slowly turns. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, he's upside because Penguin's upside down.
Yeah. Now, also, the other scene I loved, even though it didn't really need to happen, was that interrogation scene.
Oh, with Riddler? That's brilliant. It's the best scene in the movie.
It's like, it's one of the best scenes. Like, it's so intense, and it's just him monologuing, and it's amazing.
Well, that's a good segue, because I was thinking about it, and usually you can kind of come back, especially the movie that I think you'd watch again, like this is.
I would absolutely watch this again.
Yeah. So, I cannot tell you, by and large, about any given scene. This is a film that kind of moves from start to finish. There's the car chase scene, which I think is I think everything you said was very correct, and that's memorable as a scene, right? There's like that first open subway scene where the guys have to get beat up, which I guess is kind of memorable as a scene, and then the interrogation scene, absolutely. But there's not a lot of like a scene that I'd say, damn, that scene is amazing.
Okay, I have the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so,
no.
So what are your favorite scenes of this movie?
Well,
beyond the interrogation
car chase, the scene where he's like the car in the funeral and they're doing the riddles. Absolutely.
Okay. I like it, but yeah. Okay,
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. And when they go to like the weird house. And they're running through a weird house with all the like the drop addicts or whatever, and they find like the projector. Yeah.
I thought the projector part was very cool.
Yeah,
but as a scene,
there's a couple of them.
Yeah, but I'm not saying this to be negative, because I think it all flowed so well.
And it flows amazingly.
Yeah,
Like,
that you
that's
were.
why the
It wasn't a
pacing works
collection.
so well.
Yeah, it wasn't a collection of scenes. It was a story itself.
That's fair.
Yeah, but there wasn't a point where I'm like, man, that was the scene I would go back to revisit or anything.
Besides the interrogation one.
Yeah, the interrogation scene was great. Here's my question. Obviously, again, I think it's meant to call back to some degree, but does it remind you too much of the scene of Joker in jail
In
Dark Knight? Even though Batman,
I thought of it, and there's obviously they're trying to outdo them.
Yeah, it's a little similar.
But it's different, because in the Dark Knight, I honestly, that interrogation scene might be better. I'm not sure. It's pretty close. But the whole thing is, it looks like from the outside Batman's in control, but really Joker's in control because he's playing like all the mind games or whatever. And that one, the Riddler is in control, like 100%, and you just get to see him kind of ride that control, and that's really cool too. So I don't, from that perspective especially, and there's no like violence or anything. It's just him talking.
Yeah, and it's the one scene where I really liked the Riddler, like a lot in this movie. Like I think Paul Dano is a really good actor, and like all the other times
he didn't really get to showcase.
No, he's always he's in a
a
mask, he does something weird, and that's it. Like that's the one time where he's like here I am, and he showcases.
He steals the show, honestly.
Yeah. I mean it's great. Like you're reminded like things like of him and There Will Be Blood. You're like, damn, he's good.
Although it does that scene does create a plot hole.
It doesn't necessarily create a plot hole, but it creates a giant riddle, if you will.
No, I won't. But so he's an orphan. And that's the whole thing, is he's this orphan, and he also knows every government secret in Gotham. It's kind of like it's a little iffy.
Oh, that wasn't even the plot hole I thought you were going to go with here. The riddle I thought you were going to go with. So first of all, So we have the entire plot hole of the entire plot, where the Riddler is trying to showcase to Gotham through the Batman, through these killings, that all of these people in Gotham, from the commissioner and the mayor, because apparently there was an original commissioner who's killed in the original version, because the original version was 4 hours, and somehow he knows all of this, and he's the only one that knows all this. And he's somehow then telling people about it. Like they could have given the Riddler some backstory, like he was in the mob or he was in the police force that knew this. They don't. That's a giant gaping plot hole, because how does he know it all when no one else does?
Exactly, it makes no sense.
But then the Riddler sets himself up to be captured in that coffee shop, tells the police where he is, blah blah blah, so that he can be captured, right?
Doesn't make real sense, yeah.
Why? Again, you mentioned Dark Knight. Joker has a reason to go to jail because he's really in control, and he has a phone call, blows the guy, blah blah blah.
That part's great. I love that part.
But there is no reason for the Riddler to go to jail. I can't be none.
Except for because he knows Batman's gonna go there, and that's.
Because he wants to talk to Batman.
Yeah, that's it though. There's nothing else. Or they want him to find the journals of him being crazy.
It's just a weird, I don't get it. And that's where I say it falls flat, because it's even the big thing at the end now, we get to the big thing again where, he's blowing up these cars so that they can flood the city, so everyone gets flooded into, the lowest part. That
was the one part where he felt too Joker for me.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, so, here, let's play this out. So, it's the mayor election, there's a new mayor, she gets elected, and she's going to have her election speech at Gotham Square Garden. So, first of all, everyone's already going to Gotham Square Garden. It's already going to be packed because the new mayor is there with news crews to talk about how she won the election. So, first of all, he doesn't need to blow up things to flood the city to get everyone to go there, because everyone's already going there.
Well, in theory, there's a capacity, I guess. So not everyone's going there, and some people are just going to watch on TV.
Maybe, but I doubt it. Everyone's already going there. So first of all, that's already, it's weak. Second of all, yes, there are cities, like New Orleans, that are built under sea level, so if you then blow up seawalls, they will flood. There's not many of them. If you were to say in Tampa, where we live, blow up some seawalls around Tampa, you know what's not going to happen?
Flooding?
The entire city.
Yeah.
So, that was just, and it came out of nowhere. It was just so bizarre. That was and then the big ending is he's going to have these snipers there to start shooting people / kill the mayor. Get it? That's bad. And Batman thwarts it, and, well, that's the end. We're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my big problem, is that it just falls flat. Like, and maybe I was just waiting for too much. Like, I was waiting for the big superhero moment. I was waiting for Joker, or Riddler, to break out of prison, or for him to be in prison to have a purpose. And since that doesn't happen, I was left, I mean, honestly, the movie ended, and I thought there was another 20 minutes. Because I thought there was something more.
Well, there actually was like another 20 minutes of just random scenes of him becoming Hope.
Not vengeance.
No, he goes from vengeance to hope, and that's like the one character arc in the movie.
But it's not really a good character arc because they have to explain it through a voiceover. And if you have a 3-hour movie and you have to throw in a 2-minute voiceover at the end to explain the character arc, you probably miss the character arc to your audience.
That's fair.
All right. So here's my big takeaway. So we're gonna, as we get to our 25-minute mark here.
That's okay.
Yeah. All right. We're spitballing this. All right. So. Lots of good things. Again, it's not a bad movie. It was very good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Would totally recommend it so far. Good?
Yes.
Okay. Now, 3-hour movie. Original first cut was 4 hours.
Yep.
Okay. So if you have a 3-hour movie, ostensibly, we know this is going to come to like HBO Max at some point.
Yep.
And let's say we have things like Justice League, which came to HBO Max, and
was a 4-hour director cut.
Well, and then they actually went back to then refilm it and then do some things to get to this even longer director's cut, and hashtag Snyder cut for Justice League.
And Batman made more money than Justice League, so you know they're going to do it.
So here's my theory. So I think that at some point this comes to HBO Max in its current original 3-hour form, and in this extra long super director's cut 4-hour form.
Correct.
Here's what I would like. When we start seeing now the idea of content as a driver for streaming services, and streaming services need content to be long because they then report back to their shareholders how long people were on their service, how long in terms of hours they watch. Mm-hmm. Make sense?
Yep. Got it so far.
Okay. So you have things like the Suicide Squad that then have a spin-off TV show like Peacemaker so that you can say, hey, look, people watch this content of Peacemaker.
Okay. I'm with you so far.
Okay. So we then now launch the Batman 3-hour version, and we can watch the Batman 4-hour version. What I wonder is, if you have a 3-hour Batman movie, could you, in theory, break that into, say, 4 45-minute episodes?
Okay, that movie. You might actually be able to.
Now, if you can break it into 4, and it wouldn't be edited quite the same way. You'd have to actually rearrange some of the stories, right?
Yeah, obviously, but you definitely could with that movie.
You could definitely make 4 45-minute TV show episodes to create a mini-series, so to speak.
Yes.
Now, if you also have another hour of footage, you could probably create, let's say, at least 1 more episode.
Sure.
All right. And you still have at least 15 other minutes of footage that you can kind of sprinkle somewhere. Now, if that's the case, let's say you can't get Robert Pattinson back to do any filming, right? He's done. He's like, I've done my Batman movie for the moment. But you can probably get Colin Farrell, who played the Penguin, or you can get Jeffrey Wright, who played Commissioner Gordon. And you could probably get Paul Dano, who played the Riddler. Could you film a little bit of content around them, or Zoe Kravitz, who played Catwoman? You probably have a 45-minute Catwoman episode, right?
Sure.
That even fleshes out her character arc because she was stealing stuff about, and about her girlfriend or whatever, to actually build out that as a relationship. Is it feasible, if you already know you have enough content for 5 episodes, and some extra stuff that you've already filmed that you can probably then even sprinkle new Batman stuff in, can you get to 8 episodes and have the Batman as a 6.5-hour, 8-episode TV run?
You could, but I don't think you should.
Why not? I think it's a brilliant idea. I would watch every last minute of that.
I think it's an idea, but you have to film so much without the main character of the show in your scenario. That seems bad.
No. Okay, it does seem bad. However, you already have it. You have 4 hours of footage with him. The stories don't have to be linear. The stories don't have to always be intertwined. So let's say you have this storyline of, supposedly, there's a storyline of, in the hour of footage that's cut, of Batman talking to the Joker in Arkham. That Joker was a character that he's already gotten in Arkham in these last 2 years. And this is now straight out of Silence of the Lambs, where Batman goes to talk to Joker to say, how do I get in the mind of the serial killer, to get in the mind of the Riddler in this case, right? So if that actually exists, and you start filming that, could there be also a story with, let's say, Catwoman, who is trying to do something about her relationship or working in her nightclub or trying to get in touch with Falcone, her dad, right? Even if he doesn't know who she is, and going through the maze of trying to then, how does she work, as a dual plot line? You have Batman with Joker, and now you have her trying to get in with Falcone. That's a 45-minute episode that you can now get with less than 20 minutes of new footage with Catwoman, and not to film anything new with Robert Pattinson and still have him in the episode.
I'm a little more intrigued after you explain it like that.
So as you start creating these streaming service worlds, right, what I think you have the availability to do, if you can get really creative, is can you film a movie and then film ancillary items that fit in those stories that aren't told but are referenced in the movie, let's say, to create a larger thing and then spread it out. You could water it down and it could become a mess, right? Like I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying you make 13 or 26 episodes, but I think you can make it 8.
If you made it at 8, I think you could do it. I'm not sure how well it would work, but I'd still watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd still watch it, but I prefer just to see the 4-hour director's cut than that.
I think we'll see both. I think we'll see the 3-hour regular version. I think we'll see the 4-hour director's cut. And they've already said they want to do like a TV series or 2 in the world, right? There might be one on the inmates in Arkham or one on Gordon, right? Again, just like Suicide Squad did with its own Peacemaker show. I'm all for it. Like, give me a good spin-off, but again, with creative content. Don't just give me a spin-off for the sake of a spin-off that's awful, right? Like, Peacemaker's really, really good, so it works, right? But I think that you can actually take it when you have this long-form format of a movie with too much content and break it into something new. Again, kind of like Tarantino did when he filmed Kill Bill and said, oh crap, I have this 5-hour-long hot samurai revenge Hong Kong action flick. I'll just cut it in half and make it 2 movies.
I could see it. No, I could see it.
I blew your mind there, didn't I? You didn't think I was that smart.
No, I didn't. I really did not think you were that smart.
Riddle me this, man. Riddle me this.
It's better to be a clown. There's worse things.
Yeah. So okay. Let's. So then, the very, very end of the movie.
No, not at the very, very end. They put it like 2 scenes before the very, very end, which made no sense. Because I saw them like, oh, movie's done, and then there's another scene. I'm like, why?
No, I did actually hear a great idea for this of rationale, in that they didn't want it to be an end credit scene. It definitely plays like an end credit scene.
Yes. And
they didn't want it to be an end credit scene because in the Marvel movies, for the most part, the end credit scene is a scene from the next movie, or
a scene setting up the next movie.
Usually, it's a scene in the next movie.
Really?
Yes. All those scenes are often in the movie, or at least parts of it, and so or at least setting up. But they didn't want to be committed in that realm to Joker being the next villain.
That's a good thing.
I totally agree.
I don't need another Joker.
I do not either.
I really don't.
Yeah. It'd be great as an episode of a TV show, though, when you going through Silence of the Lambs and he's just interviewing him as part of my 8-episode show.
Right in that 8-episode show and just send it down to Matt Reeves. To Matt Reeves, yeah.
Matt Reeves and the Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister Dot, and maybe they can help me out.
Maybe. They could come in clutch.
They could. So, all things being equal, those are kind of what we're thinking here on all of this. That's it. Enjoyable, good, but I don't think it hit great.
I think it's a 3.5 or a 4.
I'm still stuck on, so on a scale of 0 to 5, 0 being absolutely 3 hours of your life, 5 being benefits of perfection, using only half numbers, how would you rate The Batman?
4, just for the first 2 hours.
Yes,
the first 2 hours are so good.
I'm still stuck on 3.5 at the moment.
That's fair.
All right, so now, last question. We're going to steal this again from the rewatchables. Who wins the movie? Like, at the end of this, it's a pretty good movie. And it's already made a lot of money already after its first weekend at release. Who won? Who wins the movie?
Robert Pattinson, absolutely.
You think Robert Pattinson wins this?
Every review, I read a couple reviews before we went and saw it, and I read a couple reviews after, and every single one is Robert Pattinson is great as Batman, Robert Pattinson is great as Batman, and I agree. I think he's great. Even though he doesn't really get a lot of screen time as Bruce Wayne, I still think he's great.
Bruce Wayne's not in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he is, I think, in one scene. Like, so that's actually a problem I had with it. In that, again, for the character arc, usually you need a Batman then to balance off of Bruce, and there is no Bruce, so you can't do that in this movie. So it has more on Batman. What I love is people are always like, man, I wonder what his Batman voice is going to sound like. And there is no Batman voice because Bruce Wayne never talks.
There's just no Bruce Wayne voice.
There's no Bruce Wayne voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to say Matt Reeves is going to win this. I think that, Robert Pattinson does come out looking great. I thought he was a good Batman. I really like some of the creative choices where, he's very pale. Like, he was not out in the sun because Batman's fighting at night. And then this dude's, like, sleeping all day, right? He wasn't doing the, I'm also now a CEO by day. Because, it's hard. Being a CEO, you do a lot of stuff. Of a multi-billion-dollar multinational organization. And
I actually like that about Dark Knight, where he's like falling asleep in meetings and stuff.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I think that's it makes it work.
Yeah. So like this one, he's like hell with it. Now I do think his the hell with it, and then there's the one brief scene where Alfred's like, oh man, the accountants are going to come, and then they never come, and your company's falling apart. I think it would have been more like the Dark Knight, where he's like he finds the Lucius Fox. He's like, hey Lucius, you run it. I think there'd be that board of director like element, so he doesn't have to be involved. That's a small nitpick.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because he wants to keep his nest egg going, but whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to say? We wrap this up faster than the actual Batman movie, so that's good. Go us.
Yay!
Anything else you want to say about the Batman?
I'm excited for the next one. As long as it's not Joker, I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah, we got 3 years to figure it out. Basically, it was my guess. We'll figure. Go then.
I want Two-Face.
And then we'll get good popcorn again.
I really want Harvey Dent Two-Face in that world.
I think I want a different guy. I would love this. You have Harvey Dent's like the DA in it, and then the third one could be Harvey Dent. I'd like to see something completely different in the second one. Like, give me.
At some point, you got to like make up a villain, though.
Well, there's enough villains. Give me there's owls in one of them. Like, there's like a gang of owls or something. Like, it's not really owls, but give me the owls.
It's not owls, really?
I don't think it's not really owls.
Wow.
No. Yeah.
Shocking.
But give me. Don't give me Ra's al Ghul. He's kind of boring.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you kind of already passed your point for Ra's al Ghul, too.
Yeah. So, all right,
he's the origin guy.
All right. So someone figure it out. Give me Bane again.
Yeah,
But don't give me him talking like this.
I didn't love Bane. He was just like blowing stuff up, just to blow stuff up. Like, whatever.
All right, everyone. We'll talk to you next week. We'll be back with probably Zach next week. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Bye, Batman.